So the proofing stage is our final rise. It's also called final rise or second rise. And during our proof, that is when our dough is able to rise and get that final boost of the carbon dioxide that's created by the yeast and that nice volume that we want. The timing for a room temperature proof is at least 1 hour up to 2 or 3 hours. I recommend going 1 to 2 hours because I'd rather my dough be ideally proofed or just a hair underproofed than being overproofed, because you're going to get a really good spring and good texture even if it's slightly underproofed. So 1 to 2 hours is the sweet spot for room temperature. And then if you choose to do cold proof, then that timing will be about 8 to 14 hours in the fridge. So there are 3 stages of proofing, and we want our dough to be in the ideal stage. Right after shaping, in the first part of the proofing process, your dough is underproofed. That means that if you were to bake it right away or bake it too soon, you would have a super tight crumb and your bread would be really dense. So we definitely don't want it to be underproofed. And with sourdough, it can be easy to get your dough underproofed. So we want to avoid that. And then if we let our dough go too long, or if we don't gauge the room temperature correctly, or we forget about our dough, it can become overproofed. An overproofed dough will look extremely puffy. It might even come over the sides of the pan slightly. It will have a very saggy, sloppy appearance. If you do the poke test, you will notice your dough will deflate a little bit and it won't have any rise back. So we want to avoid overproofing. For me, if I ever overproof dough, I just try to bake it right away. I put it in the fridge and bake it right away because I hate wasting good dough that I've worked on. But if at all possible, avoid overproofing. Some signs of underproofed dough are that when you do the poke test, you wet your finger and you poke the dough quickly springs back and there's really hardly any evidence of where you poke the dough. There's no indentation. And your dough will have a very tight, smaller, more dense appearance. Now, when our dough is at its ideal proof, that we're looking for that just right stage of proofing. So to do a poke test in your dough for the proofing stage, slightly moisten your finger with water, and then you're going to press it into the dough very lightly, about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. And that will give you indications whether your dough is in its ideal proofed stage, if it's underproofed or overproofed. And the dough should spring back a bit to show there's still some life in that yeast, but leave that indentation there. So if my finger indentation remains, then it's perfectly proofed and it's time to bake. Okay, that video is about one of the most important parts of the sourdough, or most fun parts of the sourdough making process, start to finish sourdough bread. It's for my full course, Starting Sourdough from Scratch. So if you're looking to learn more about sourdough baking and need some help, check out some resources in the video description box below. And I can't wait to help you with your sourdough baking. So please subscribe and share this with another friend who might be learning to make sourdough as well.